It is true. By most polls, you're going to see that Hillary Clinton is leading Bernie Sanders by double digits or close or even more than that. But you know what? The polls are often very wrong, especially when you're dealing with big demographics, and that's what you'll have here in New York. And there's no question that rallies are telling a different story of momentum. 20,000 plus Washington Square Park. In Brooklyn yesterday, they say there were even more than that. And you're seeing a lot of different positive movements as well. We have the Congress member from Hawaii, Tulsi Gabbard, here. She is a big player in Congress, and she believes that Senator Sanders is the right choice, and you're here to make the case. Always a pleasure.
I do. Thanks, Chris. Good to
now,
see you.
we like to talk about what matters, especially where the veterans are involved. This matters in the race as well. We've asked each of the candidates, hey, what's going on with the GI Bill right now in Congress? They're trying to take this, I know you know the bill very well, but just so you guys remember, we talked about it on Friday with the head of the Iraq and Afghanistan Veterans Association, 400,000 plus members they have. They're trying to take this money that was for a housing allowance that a lot of people, when there was an overage, used it for their dependents, help those families. Congress members want to take that money and use it to pay for other programs. They say this is being efficient. The Veterans Organization and others in that space say, no, it isn't. Find your money somewhere else. The GI Bill is not a piggy bank. We've asked Senator Cruz, Governor Kasich, Donald Trump, Hillary Clinton, Secretary Clinton, Senator Sanders to come out and say what they'll do to support the bill. How important is it?
This is critically important, both because of the support that it provides for veterans and their family members, as you mentioned, their dependents, whether it's a spouse or children, but it's also symbolic of something bigger that's happening here. The bottom line is you don't break your promises to our veterans, to our service members, who've put their lives on the line and sacrificed so much, to their family members. This goes against the very mission of the VA, the Veterans Affairs Department. So this is really a big thing, both for the GI Bill, but it's also indicative of other efforts that we see time and time again trying to peel back benefits for our veterans that are intended to be able to honor their service and to be able to help them through this transition.
Now, Secretary Clinton came up and forward first and said, I'm not going to let that happen. I'll fight against it. To be fair, Senator Sanders has been pretty aggressive in putting out additional programs for veterans. We'll see what he says about this when we have him on
I'll
today.
just mention Senator Sanders. I think he put out a tweet several weeks ago when he first learned about this effort, talking about how it's important to defend the GI Bill. And as you mentioned, both through his time in the Senate, as well as what he has outlined he will do as president for our veterans. He's got a strong track record of championing their needs and making sure that they get the care that they deserve.
So let's use the rest of our time here to deal with the specific criticism. Everything that Tulsi Gabbard just said is true about Bernie Sanders. But the big question is, but can he get it done? His bill that he put out for vets a year and a half or so ago couldn't get it done. If he were to go there and fight for it, can he get it done? Free college. Changing the things that he wants to change about the banks. How will he be able to get these things done in D.C.? Sounds great, but the follow-through, maybe not so much. Defend it.
He actually did pass a historic piece of veterans legislation serving in the United States Senate about a year and a half ago, the Veterans Choice and Accountability Act. This is something that was monumental, had been worked on for a very long time. A lot of people said it couldn't be done. But he worked with John McCain in a bipartisan fashion and got this legislation through. It's done a whole host of things, first of which is provided access to veterans who, as CNN has talked about in depth, face these incredible wait periods just to see a doctor for the first time, just to see a specialist to get that care. This Choice Act said, hey, look, if the VA is telling you got to wait more than 30 days, the VA will pay for you to go and see a doctor in your community, so you get that care.
So he was able to do that. How about these bigger ticket items, though? Getting free college. And I'm leaving the deficit talk to the side. A lot of economists are saying the numbers don't add up, but I'm talking about the political capital. What is it about Bernie Sanders that you can tell the voters in this state and this country, yeah, he can get it done. It's not just pie in the sky.
Well, he's shown through his record. He can work in a bipartisan fashion to get things done. And I think if you look at that rally that I was at yesterday in Brooklyn, I was incredibly moved. There were 28,300 people who came out to Brooklyn yesterday, not for a rock concert, but because they care about the future of this country. And they care about taking action to be able to make things better, to be able to put some of these strong changes forward. And whenever we see any major change that happens in Congress, We see that it happens because people on the grassroots mobilize, they activate, they call their members of Congress, they say, you have to get this done. I've seen that in the time that I've been in Congress when things change or you expect a certain outcome and then it flips. It happens because you have people like those here in New York who come out, who pick up the phone, who bang down the doors and say, hey, we demand this change. You are accountable to us as voters in this country. And that's really what Bernie Sanders' focus is all about. And I think what should be giving us hope in this country to see so many people really stepping up, getting engaged, getting informed, and taking action.
Tulsi Gabbard, always
Thank you,
good to
Chris.
have you here. Thank
Good
you
to
for
see
making
you.
the case this morning.
Thank you.